Hello everyone, this is the Exodus duology by Peter F. Hamilton, a prelude to a video game coming out in 2027, which there are some trailers and stuff out on YouTube you can take a look at. It's a really neat looking game. So this is Archimedes' engine. This is Helium C. I read this last year, and this is just a new publication this month. And basically speaking, I can tell you I did like the first one quite a bit better. These take place in a globular cluster called the Centauri cluster. It just so happens there really is they usually title it the Omega Centauri cluster. And just like here in the books, it's about 16,000 light years away. It's about 150 light years in diameter and contains about 10 million stars, increasing the density of their area drastically. So here in our area here, the average density throughout the rest of the Milky Way is about a star every 4 to 5 light years. And so here's our local 15 light year radius, and that black dot in the middle being the sun. And there are 23 stars in that picture. So we've got 23 stars within 15 light years. So in the globular cluster, it's more like a star for every 10th of a light year. And so you would have to have, instead of 23, something between 900 and 1,000 stars just in that picture alone. That's the density of a globular cluster. This you see a 10th of a light year. So that's about, so the nearest star is about 270,000 astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the distance from the Earth to the Sun, so that's 93 million miles. That's 1 AU. So 270,000 AU to the nearest star, so a 10th of a light year would be 27,000 astronomical units. Is still ridiculously far away, but still, let's see, the nearest star at our current technology would take us something like 70,000 light years. I'm sorry, just 70,000 years to get there, and so it only takes 7,000 to get to the nearest globular cluster star. But happily, in the technology of these books, once you're in the globular cluster, there is a gate system set up by a much more powerful race of beings who have let's call it a very neutral point of view. Anyone can use the gates. We're just letting nature take its course. We're not siding with the good guys or the bad guys. And so once you enter a gate, you don't go faster than the speed of light. You go the speed of light. It takes about a minute to speed up and a minute to slow down. You have to have a special drive to take advantage of this. So time dilation still does occur. So you might age a few months, come back, and a few years have gone by, depending on how far you've gone. They do talk about maybe we can just escape and just go flitting about the gates until a few thousand years have gone by, and we're just done with all this history and make our escape that way. There was a scene of a Dyson sphere under construction, and they've got a few tens of thousands of years before they're done with it, and they muse, maybe we should just go buzz around until enough time has gone by and we just come here and settle when the Dyson sphere is finished, and we'll only be a few years older instead of tens of thousands of years older, that kind of thing. So the machinations of this book, people from Earth have arrived at the Centauri cluster to find that it's basically a dystopia ruled over by these evil queens, these super advanced beings, biologically speaking, just advanced biotech and nanotech, every buzzword you can imagine. Big old fat space opera without adding in mind powers and whatnot. So the one oldest man, the journey takes 40,000 years to get there because they don't have any gate technology. They had to come across the Gulf. And his name is Josiah, and he's going to become important, but he's basically a support character in this. He's like a used car salesman, but he's a very, very intelligent individual. The primary character in this book was Finn, who was born in the cluster, raised in a royal family, and he wants his old spaceship to go gallivanting around the cluster. Along with that, one of the daughters of the evil queens, Thyra, and we get her story and her growing up and being molded to take over. What the queens do is raise these daughters and then download themselves into the minds of those daughters. And so their legacy continues technologically. And this, that, so, well, I guess, so I have to do a little bit of spoilers here. Where this leaves off, a rebellion has ensued, and Finn and gang have attached what was called an Archimedes engine to this planetoid and hurled it at the ruling world. Kaboom. And in the chaos, they must make their escape. And they also make their escape with about 2,000 tons of antimatter. Let's see. If you go a kilogram, about 2.2 pounds of antimatter, you'll get about a 50 megaton explosion equal to the Tsar bomb. Going up further, I believe it's around 200, if you just go another couple orders of magnitude, really. 220 pounds of antimatter would be like the entire world's nuclear arsenal. That's pounds. These guys have 2,000 tons of it. This is about, I want to say, 100 times more than you need to end all life on Earth. It wouldn't blow up the planet. You need something like, gosh, a couple of trillion tons worth of antimatter to actually blow up the Earth. So they've only got a couple thousand tons, but still potent, powerful, and worth a good currency. So in the chaos of this, this basically becomes a situation of, we got to get this guy, Finn, and his gang. In this, Finn he's the main character. He's the main guy. And I guess Thyra would count as a secondary main character, although they don't meet in this, but they're at odds, let's say, in all the political machinations going on. But in this, Finn has no agency. There's no main character in this book. The viewpoint characters change hands so much, there just isn't an MC. Every story is decent to read, but it was a bit, it could get a bit convoluted. And there were times when I thought I really need to be taking notes or something, because this is getting very complex. So if you want some complex, I got a little lost here and there. I'm like trying to remember who it was from the first book, who did what they're doing now, who's backstabbing who. There are spies in the royal families. There's been a spy in Finn's gang who, it wasn't Finn's idea to attach the Archimedes engine and attack the throne world. That was someone else getting in his head technologically and manipulated him and his folks into doing so. And that person is revealed and after them as a maniac. So there's so many good pieces in here, but the actual plot itself is basically a bit of a mess. It was a little hard for me to follow. This has extraordinarily good reviews. I don't even remember reading a particularly bad one. Yeah, I think I kept seeing 4 and 5 stars, couple 3s. I could have swore somebody put a 1 or a 2 in there somewhere where they didn't have anything to say about it. Just didn't like it, I guess. Everything I like here technologically is just wonderful. From uploading and downloading to defenses technologically in your mind, to, again, a Dyson sphere, these gates to speed you up to light speed so you can get around quite a bit faster. Everything's there technologically. If you're a sci-fi junkie, there's wonderful things to read about in here. Otherwise, again, it's just a plot mess. I think it could have been tightened up. I always sort of wind up digressing to just saying a book is a bit overwritten. This is 700 some pages, and maybe if they'd have taken a lot of the scenes and just tightened them up a little bit, this might have been a little easier and quicker to follow. It does have it's fast paced in some places and extremely slow in others, and just made for I did finish it, so whenever I finish a book, I can say is good enough for that. But I don't think this one here lives up to this one here at all. This is a superior book. This doesn't have a tied up ending, and this does though. I actually say, hey, this actually has a pretty good ending, a very satisfying ending to it. It's just, and a very good beginning to it. It's just a lot in between was just a little too all over the place for me to really enjoy it as much as I did the first book. So, I mean, if you want, if that puts you off it, I think the first book, even though it doesn't have the ending, it's still a pretty damn good read. I enjoyed it immensely. So that is it for that. Next week, back to some Alastair Reynolds. Found a novel watching John on Sci-Fi Scavenger. This is Slow Bullets by Alastair Reynolds. The survival of civilization depends on one woman and her archenemy. A vast conflict between hundreds of worlds appears to be finally at an end. But even as the ceasefire takes effect, a conscripted soldier is captured by a renegade war criminal and left for dead. When Skur revives, she finds herself aboard a prisoner transport vessel where something has gone terribly wrong. The ship's dying computer is waking its passengers. Combatants from both sides of the war forced into hibernation. Their memories, embedded in bullets, are the only links to the worlds they can find and a planet they don't recognize. Now Skur must keep the peace, and when an old enemy reappears, the stakes are much higher than just her own life. I think someone said something about this should have been a full-length novel because they wanted more, so that sounds like it's pretty good. Since this is such a short book, I don't know that means I'm gonna take a few days off reading and just wait till I do my video normal, or do one real quick as soon as I can and then move on to the next thing. Here's my TBR. Here's my whole TBR. This is These Memories Do Not Belong to Us, another novella. So I could do a vlog of 2 books. And then Archipelago, which I went to an alternate called Schuler Books and found that on the shelf. Remember, he called Empire's been sitting here for a couple of years. I just haven't got around to it, but no, I'm feeling I want to get around to it. So that's it. A good first book, so-so second book, and Alastair Reynolds next week, Slow Bullets. That's it for now. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.